Yesterday, I did a video calling on Bola Tinubu to answer a simple question, just yes or no. Are you a drug lord? Because we've got documents showing that you were involved in a heroin cartel in Chicago between the years of 1991 and 1993. So it's a very, very simple question. We've got the documents showing that you forfeited almost $500,000 to the US government, and I have a master's in law, and if you've read law, you know that when you forfeit, it's almost like a conviction, because what you're saying is that, look, yes, I'm guilty, but I don't want to go all the way to trial, take what you want and then leave me alone. And so we need to ask this question, Bola Tinubu, were you a heroin drug lord? Because we don't want a person who is connected to drugs being our president. If you were not contesting to be president of Nigeria, I wouldn't be doing this video. It's a very, very simple question. Some people reached out to me, I got threats, which I'm going to ignore, but well-meaning people reached out to me and said, look, leave this matter, it's in the past. Why should I leave this matter? How do you know it's in the past? Look at the kind of cartel behavior that Bola Tinubu has been exhibiting since 1999. Everybody who wants to be anything from governor to commissioner to other positions in Lagos have to come through him. That is a typical cartel behavior. Look what's happening right now with the National Union of Road Transport Workers. They have Bola Tinubu stickers on their Danfo buses and other public transport buses. They have to pay 20,000, they say, to buy the stickers, and then a renewal fee of 10,000 every month. Otherwise, what they call Agbero, or the National Union of Road Transport Workers, which are led by Bola Tinubu's thugs in Lagos, will just cause mayhem. So that's that cartel behavior. And then if he's done it in Lagos, he's going to take it to Aso Rock if he's elected. So we as a people should be asking these questions. Bola Tinubu, are you a heroin drug lord? Because we don't want a Pablo Escobar kind of president. We don't want Nigeria to be reduced to Colombia. We already have enough problems with insecurity. We don't want drug cartels now fighting over. We don't want anybody to make our president vulnerable. These are questions. Yes or no, Bola Tinubu, were you a drug lord? Just yes or no. I do not like Bola Tinubu because I know for a fact that he's a known drug lord. There was a subpoena to Deloitte, and Deloitte had said Tinubu did not work for them. I do not like the fact that he's a known drug lord.
You've called Asiwaju a drug lord, and so many unprintable names you've spoken about with regards to candidates.
Well, that's not true. I mean, if you can tell me the unprintable names that I've said, please say it here. That is false, Ayo. I've not used any unprintable names. Is drug
lord a pleasant name? Is that something you can...
No. Please, can I respond to that?
Yeah.
Drug lord is not an unprintable name. If you are a drug lord, first and foremost, if you are a thief, it is not libel to say you are a thief. How am I going to tell you that if you are a thief, I'll come and meet you and say, oh, you are a nice person who diplomatically likes to take things that do not belong to you? No, you are a thief. Bola Tinubu is a non-drug lord. It's not an unprintable word. I've got facts to back it up. I've got documents to back it up. I spent my money. I went to Chicago. I went to the court. I got the certified true copies. Bola Tinubu is a drug lord. That is not an unprintable name. If you have a background with drugs, that's an issue. Look at what happened in Colombia. They had a president who had a non-drug lord background. It affected their country, effectively bankrupted that country because foreign direct investment into that country almost ceased. Major banks did not want to do business with that country. These are important matters.
The question I want to ask you as a Nigerian voter, do you want a known drug lord as your president? Because it's going to have effects on you. It's going to have ramifications on you, on your passport, on your currency, on the way people view you abroad. This is a national existential crisis. If we have a known drug lord, go and research what happened in Colombia. Go and research what happened in Panama. It affected their economy. It affected even school children because the amount of foreign aid coming to the country was affected because of the person that they had at the top. Bola Tinubu is a known drug lord. Bola Tinubu is a known drug lord. He has this man who's meant to be the Minister of Labor and Productivity, or rather say on productivity, who went on TV to try to hoodwink Nigerians, telling them that the charge against Bola Tinubu was just for tax, that all he paid was tax, that it had nothing to do with drugs. That is a big lie. I have the document here. Nigerians can see it. I hope you can see it on the screen here. I have the document here. It actually says, and if you look at it, it says docket. A docket, and as I'm speaking, your viewers can go on Google and fact check me. A docket is used for a criminal pending. A criminal pending. So you don't use a docket for a civil matter. And then right on the very first paragraph on this docket, it says that this is a forfeiture action under section under 21 USC section 881. USC is the United States Criminal Code. I will state it again. USC is the United States Criminal Code. Now, if you're watching at home, you can go on Google and you can fact check me. The United States Criminal Code is Title 18 USC, United States Criminal Code. And I'm going to read what section 881 of the USC, the Criminal Code, says. Now, this is it. I'm reading it. Nigerians can see it here. This is what I'm reading. It says, the following shall be subject to forfeiture to the United States, and no property rights shall exist in them. All monies, negotiable instruments, securities, or other things of value furnished or intended to be furnished by any person in exchange for a controlled substance or listed chemical in violation of this subchapter. All proceeds traceable to such an exchange, and all monies, negotiable instruments, and securities used or intended to be used to facilitate any violation of this subchapter. The word used there is controlled substances. Now, for Nigerians who may not understand this, a controlled substance are what they call narcotics, hard drugs. In this case, it was white heroin. Bola Tinubu was involved in a white heroin cartel. We know, and he was the treasurer of that cartel. And then he put some monies into an account. He was working for Mobil. And as he was working for Mobil, his salary was $2,400. Yet he paid in a total of $1.4 million into several accounts. Now, he was asked to explain how he got those monies. He could not explain how he got those monies. So, one of those accounts, the monies in there, $460,000, it was forfeited to the United States government. It was not taxed. Now, there is only one agency of the United States government that has been given the authority to take forfeited amount, and that is the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. If you look at the case of the U.S. state, the state versus Ishmael Zambalda, who was the leader of the Sinaloa drug cartel, the exact same language that was used in this docket is the exact same language that was used for that man, Ishmael Zambalda. And if you're watching me, you can Google it. That it says that you agree to forfeit $5 million to the United States. Word for word with what was used for Bola Tinubu. The only difference is the amount. Bola Tinubu forfeited $460,000. Ishmael Zambalda forfeited $5 million. But the source of the money came from the same place, drugs.
I and Senator Ben Morebruce were responsible for Waziri Atiku Abubakar picking Peter Obi as his running mate.
In 2019,
we packaged Peter Obi, saying he was the next best thing after sliced bread. We were packaging this man. You know, why? I don't particularly like Peter Obi. The reason why I was doing that was because I was instructed by former President Jonathan that this is the man he wants. Waziri Atiku Abubakar called me and said I should headhunt a vice presidential candidate for him. Without telling Waziri Atiku Abubakar, as he dropped the phone, the next person I called was President Jonathan. And President Jonathan told me, it is Peter Obi. I said, sir, if I just tell this man Peter Obi, wouldn't it be rude? Because he said headhunt. So what I did was I packaged everybody. So we parted Peter Obi and made it so obvious that the person that Waziri was going to choose was Peter Obi.
And then went straight to Abeokuta to meet my boss, President Obasanjo, and told him, Mr. President, I have got the ticket. So he asked me, he said, okay, from where is your running mate going to come from? I said, of course, it's either southeast or southwest. He said, no, leave southwest. Because I was there for 8 years. Go to southeast. I said, okay, sir. Do you have anybody in mind? He said, yes. The first person he suggested was Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. So I told him Ngozi was not a member of our party. I believe if I forward the name to the party, they will reject. I said, okay. He said, what about Soludo? I said, Soludo too was not a member of our party, so they will not accept. He now said, what about Peter Obi? I said, Peter Obi is a member of the party. He said, okay, take him. I said, okay, sir.
You're going to ask me, who do I think will make the best president? I would say, and it's going to upset a lot of people, but I would say Peter Obi. Peter Obi will be an absolutely fabulous president. If Peter Obi were president of Nigeria, Nigeria would be like Dubai in a matter of years.
I listened to Governor Peter Obi, and ex-Governor Peter Obi, the plans, the ideas, this man raised the bar of leadership in Nigeria. He raised the bar of leadership in Nigeria. Since he left office, can you believe that this man does not take anything, not even like a penny from the Anambra State government? And while he was there, he was a man that built up Anambra State. Anambra State used to be almost educationally disadvantaged. And then in less than 2 years, he brought them to be number one. He left that state with a reserve. Look, we need people like this. I'm so proud of Governor Obi. I listened to him today, and I was taught, like, do we have fellows like this in Nigeria? I'm very proud of this man. Look at everything that he has touched. He made money for himself in the private sector. He made money for Anambra State in government. Anambra State doesn't borrow money. Are you aware of that? These bailout funds that the current administration is giving states, Anambra State, he left enough for Anambra State. I'm very proud of this man.
When Reno Omokri went and stole the identity of somebody known as Gwenda's sibling, I met the mother. I interviewed her. I put it out. That's the evidence. And the woman said, yes, Reno Omokri is an identity thief. When Reno Omokri sent soldiers to the mother's house to eject somebody from their house in Warri or so, I got the information, I put it out on Sahara Reporters. In fact, it led to him being fired by Jonathan, because most people did not know that Reno Omokri did not complete his tenure with Jonathan. Jonathan fired him towards the election because of a lot of criminal activities he was engaging in. Reno Omokri claims to be an Amazon bestseller. Can you just find out how many books he's selling? What's the name of the book? So I'm not personalizing it. I'm just telling you that I am an evidence-based person.
So if a Peter Obi has wanted to be the vice president, he found himself close to the position, sending you CVs and hustling for it is not a crime. All of us also for work. Now work, an opportunity to serve. During the election, politicians even they beg. So it's not a big deal. Now let's proceed. You said you are loyal to Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Abi? And under Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, Reno Omokri was his spokesperson, one of the spokesperson, him in that party. How come you started working with a very man who destroyed Goodluck Jonathan from inside the PDP? Atiku was the major problem that Goodluck Jonathan had from inside his party. Atiku and Rotimi Amishi. We were alive that time, I don't get sense where we that time. To the extent that Goodluck Jonathan went to beg Atiku Abubakar, I beg, man, do my second term. Atiku and Amishi removed governors from the PDP who called themselves aggrieved. And they all went to create the APC and remove Goodluck Jonathan from power. So as loyal as you was to Goodluck Jonathan, how come did you end up working with that same Atiku? That's one. Did Atiku know that you were loyal to Goodluck Jonathan, or he thought you were loyal to him too? Because for him to call you and ask you to headhunt a vice president, he actually thought you were loyal to him. Apparently, you were deceiving him. Because instead of doing the job where your guy sent you, you call Goodluck to give you a candidate. Let's proceed. So you were packaging Obi even though you didn't like him. Why? Because the man you were loyal to liked him and wanted him. How are we sure you are not packaging Lagos Calabar Coastal Road? Because the man who you are now loyal to likes it. How are we sure the things you have said about Nigeria are not things you are packaging to us? Because the man who you are loyal to now likes it. This one you they talk now. How are we sure you are not saying it now because the man who you are loyal to now wants you to say it? He who is faithful in little is faithful in much. And he who is unfaithful in little is unfaithful in much. Reno Omokri thinks is an asset to Nigeria. You are just a hustler that is anywhere but face. Hunger and the cause of this one. So I understand it's all right. That 8 years we Buhari not take you appointment. Hunger won't finish you for that road. We don't come back here now. Call the hustle here because Nigeria is your jungle. Now go hustle for here, carry and go abroad, go feed on our family. You'll be like Nigeria be like forest. Where hunter come hunt. If family they town. Hunter fit get house inside the bush. So that when he hunt, he go just stay there. Then when he catch meat, he go to and go give his family. That's exactly what these men are doing with Nigeria.
We must put structures in place to ensure that Tinubu and co are sacked in 2027. How can we ensure that Tinubu is sacked in 2027? Some of you might be saying, oh, revolution here, revolution this, revolution that. The resources to engage in that revolution, do we have it? Is there a better alternative than a violent revolution? Is it possible for us to use our brains, to use our heads, to think out of the box and come up with solutions that can sack Tinubu in 2027? The answer is yes. The only power that Tinubu has is to rig the elections. And that is not a strength, like many of you are trying to paint it. That is not a strength. There is no developed country in the world where their presidents or political leaders have rigging in their arsenal as the tool with which they win elections. In fact, which developed countries in the world have you seen? Maybe I have not seen them. Which developed country in the world have you seen that their leaders are strong election riggers? Which one? No country can develop when their leaders are election riggers. So to say, oh, Tinubu is a master strategist, when his strength apparently lies in election rigging, it's not a compliment. It's an admission of criminality. It is an admission of shame. We need to do much more than talk. Is it possible to sack Tinubu in 2027? The answer is yes. But can we do it without free and fair elections? The answer is no. The only way Tinubu continues in office beyond 2027, the only way, whether there is a coalition or whether there is no coalition, the only way is for the 2027 elections to be rigged. And the signs are there. So, if we are to sack Tinubu in 2027, it means that our only path to achieving that objective is to make sure the election of 2027 is free and fair. Right now, what would you say is our path to a free and fair elections in Nigeria today? Electoral reforms? That's the only thing that we can point to. Even that electoral reforms. How many religious leaders, entertainment leaders, you call them celebrities? How many traditional rulers? How many business leaders, the likes of Dangote, them Otedola, how many of them are throwing their weight behind electoral reforms? How many of them are talking about it? The other day we saw a video of Randy Peters visiting Pastor Adeboye. At the end of that video, which I took my time to watch, Pastor Adeboye did not even say, we are calling on Tinubu to give us electoral reform. Instead, he was advising the youths, the Randy Peters of this world, to be peaceful. Even the electoral reforms, that is our half chance to getting free and fair elections. The people that matter, quote and unquote, because at the end of the day, even all Nigerian lives matter. But let's say the big names across different sectors. Political leaders, traditional leaders, religious leaders, entertainment leaders, business leaders, media leaders, educational leaders. How many of them are talking about it? Now let's even forget the fact that they are not talking about it. The key players. the people have the power to push electoral reforms and get it passed if they mount enough pressure. We, the people of Nigeria, the citizens of Nigeria, if we come out in our millions, imagine 30 million Nigerians putting our weight behind electoral reforms, the National Assembly will have no choice but to pass it. And the president will have no choice but to assent to it, so that we can have mandatory real-time election result transmission, collation, and display electronically. Mandatory, such that the manual collation will just be for backup, for administrative purposes. We can have that. We can have that electoral reforms. But here is the kicker. If by some miracle we are able to get a Tinubu to convince his boys and Akpabio and co to pass that electoral amendment bill, what is the guarantee that INEC will not come up with a glitch? That is where Plan B has to kick in. It has to be activated. So the only path is free and fair elections. The only path. And the only way to get free and fair elections is electoral reforms, right? Not really. Electoral reform is just Plan A. After we get electoral reforms, as hard as that may seem, we must also activate a backup plan that includes several components. We must activate political party reforms. We must activate citizens' real-time election monitoring, which will include real-time election results transmission, collation, and display, parallel to whatever INEC has been forced to do in the Electoral Act. We must activate evidence gathering mechanisms. We must activate systems to de-weaponize poverty. We must activate systems to de-weaponize impunity, like the stuff that is happening against Natasha now. And we must activate systems to open up the political playing field to all Nigerians. Remove all the gates, the money barrier that have been put there, the elite barrier that have been put there. Remove all of them. All of these solutions are things that you can find details to in the description. If our objective is a new Nigeria that works, talking is only 1% of what we need to do. We need structures in place now. Not tomorrow, not 6 months. Structures in place today, right now. For citizens to have their own election monitoring system, real time. A system that is even faster than that of INEC. We need 600,000 polling unit marshals. That's 3 polling unit marshals per polling unit. These will be responsible for entering the results in triplicates into the election monitoring application, Vote Vision. In triplicates. And the beautiful thing is that no polling unit marshal will know who the next polling unit marshal is for that polling unit. So each polling unit marshal will be a check and a balance to the other 2 polling unit marshal in a particular polling unit. Can we do 600,000 polling unit marshal volunteers? I think we can. It is a starting point to guarantee that the election of 2027 cannot be rigged. And guess what? If we can ensure that the election cannot be rigged, if we can ensure that the elections will be free and fair, guess who wins? the people and the people's candidates. The only chance that a Peter Obi has to not be rigged out in 2027, I am confident that he will win in a free and fair election. The only chance he has to sit on that seat in Aso Rock on May 29, 2027, is to ensure that the elections are free and fair. That is the only chance. Anything short of that, we are wasting time and we are falling into Tinubu's trap of distractions in the whole loss for war. So check the link in the description and volunteer now. We have the applications ready. We are igniting it July 1 by the special grace of God. This Nigeria, we will not sit idly by and allow the likes of Tinubu and company to destroy our children's future just for the sake of their pockets and the interests of those that are their backers. We will not. We will give it a try. No matter how impossible it will seem, we will give it a try. What are you going to do?